Be sure to subscribe for more content.
What is up, ladies and gents? Welcome to the BigBC Finance Channel, and I hope you're having a very lovely day today. So in today's video, we're going to be talking all about Luna Classic, what has happened to it recently, and where I predict the price to go to in the near future with some key price levels and some trades I'm looking to make. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. And of course, if you appreciate the daily analysis on this channel and you haven't done so already, do be sure to hit the subscribe button. So let's get straight into this one, Luna Classic. So at the moment on Luna Classic, we're kind of following this upwards bullish trend. You can see this trend line in orange that we have here is kind of holding the price up on Luna Classic, despite it being very choppy here on Luna Classic. So you can see the price kind of pump, dump, and then dump again, like over the past few days, and it's been quite erratic, so through all that noise, you can see that this trend line is still holding the price up quite well. There's been one instance where it's come down slightly below here, but in general, it's kind of showing us the direction of which the price is going in. So that is a good sign. It's in an upwards direction and it's still generally bullish. Of course, we're above this blue line. We did come down last time I made a video, we did come down below this blue line, which is a bit scary. Of course, you saw the price dump below this blue line here, and the price kind of hovered in this region for a while below the blue line. So very scary stuff, but we did come back above, and now the price is again sitting close to the blue line. Now, blue line is the 100-hour moving average, and it kind of dictates the trend here on Luna Classic. Of course, when we were in this bearish trend, you could see that the price spent most of its time below the blue line. And of course, by the same token, in this region here, this bullish region that we had on Luna Classic, the price spent most of its time above. So this is why we look at the blue line. Basically when the price is more above than below, then we can say we're in a more bullish trend. But if the price is spending most of its time below, then we're in a more bearish trend. And those two observations alone, this trend line here and this 100-hour moving average, it tells me that we're still going in somewhat of an upwards direction. Of course, it's not as quick as I'd like it to be. Like, we're going in a very gradual upwards direction. So if I just extend this trend line, for example, and just imagine that the price continued to live by this trend line going in an upwards direction, of course, by the 12th of November, so in 2 weeks time or so, the base price should be around 25 cents, which isn't that much more than where we are now. So it is a very slow bullish trend line. And of course, with the rise in Dogecoin, so Dogecoin, for example, saw a massive pump that we saw here. I talk about Dogecoin on this channel, so if you do want to check out the videos, go ahead. And the same with Shiba Inu, we saw a much larger pump on Shiba Inu. And of course, I was expecting to see something on Luna Classic, because at the end of the day, we're all part of the meme coin family. The only difference with Luna Classic, it was created to be a serious coin, but after its failing back in May, with the birth of Luna Classic, we have a more light-hearted community, but not everyone knows that. And of course, that's probably why we didn't see the same pump in Luna Classic that we did in Dogecoin and Shiba Inu. People were pouring their money in to those two dog coins, but when it came to Luna Classic, the wider awareness isn't quite there, which of course I do think the community is working on, but we don't have that wider awareness yet. So we didn't see the same pump, although we did see a quick 16% spike from the bottom to the very top there, what looks like a sort of short squeeze, because it came up and then came back down within the same hours. So if you did manage to trade that, then congratulations. Trading within a fairly small range. There's a few pumps every now and then, and there isn't too much to be seen on this chart at the moment. Of course, we're going in this gradual bullish trend, but most of my price predictions for Luna Classic recently have come from what the broader market is doing. So if we have a look at what Bitcoin does, for example, and if you're wondering why I'm showing you, is because Bitcoin tends to lead the cryptocurrency market. So if we see a big price action in Bitcoin, a big pump or a big dump, or if it changes trends or anything like that, typically it will add a bias to the majority of altcoins out there. So that includes Luna Classic. So for example, if we see this massive pump, then we should see something similar here in Luna Classic as well, which we did with this change of trend here. So of course, if Bitcoin starts to fail, if Bitcoin breaks down and starts doing something like this, for example, in this bearish trend, then we should see that in Luna Classic as well. And of course, things are looking fairly weak here in Bitcoin. And so just by what Bitcoin is doing, of course, we've had this pump that we've had here over several days now. On Bitcoin now, we're on the 1 hour on the one-day chart. So we can see Bitcoin has broken past its previous trend line and it's done this small little rally into the 20,000s up to a peak of around 21,000. But right now it looks like it's completing some sort of double top. Of course, back on the 1 hour chart, we can see that there's two peaks that could be connected by a trend line that looks like this. Now, of course, if we are seeing a double top, then we should see a neckline that looks like this. And this would be confirmed upon the breakout below this neckline. And we should see a price target of around 19,500. So that's a fairly bearish scenario on Bitcoin. And of course, if if we do see this pattern play out on Bitcoin, that should add a bearish bias to Luna Classic. So I'd be interested to see how Luna Classic reacts to that, but we could see a slightly more bearish trend come on Luna Classic should Bitcoin go back down to the 19,000s and even 18,000s as well. So it's looking a little bit sketchy. Of course, I'm going to show you the dollar strength index as well, because Bitcoin price has been quite correlated to this. Every time the dollar currency index pumps, then we see Bitcoin dump, and vice versa. So recently we can see that the dollar currency index has come down over the past few days in the same time frame that Bitcoin went up. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add Bitcoin onto this chart here so you guys can see it super clearly. But if you have a look at that, you can see that basically every time we see a drop in the dollar currency index, we see a pump on Bitcoin, and vice versa. So again, we can see this period here on the dollars cost index resulted in this crash here on Bitcoin. And so this is kind of something that we have to pay attention to, because if the dollar currency index is looking bullish, then it's going to be tough for Bitcoin to also be bullish. Of course, it's not a perfect correlation, and sometimes they both move together, but generally speaking, their actions are the opposite of each other. So of course, on the US dollar currency index, it did break down from what I believe to be a triangle that looked like this. We did see that price drop to around 109, but now back on the index, we're getting up to around 111.5, and things are looking fairly bullish still for the dollar currency index here. So of course, if the dollar currency index is bullish, then Bitcoin is probably going to be bearish. And of course, if we have a look at Bitcoin right now, it's heading in literally the opposite direction. So not a great picture here on Bitcoin. Of course, if we have a look at the broader stock market as well, because again, Bitcoin stock market are fairly correlated, then we can see again the stock market today has opened red. Of course, things could change, but at the moment, things are not looking so great in the stock market as well. And thus Bitcoin's not going to be great, and we could be starting to see some sort of bearish bias here on Luna Classic. So I'm really looking for what happens, with this trend, with this long-term trend line that we have here on Luna Classic. I'm really looking for if the price can hold this trend line up. If we see the price starting to break down like this, then of course we could be entering a new trend on Luna Classic. That is something in line with the broader crypto market as well. So really all eyes on what Bitcoin is doing. At the moment, we're seeing Bitcoin break down from this double top pattern that we probably have already formed, and we're looking at what the stock market and what the dollar currency index is doing, because everything's fairly correlated right now, particularly times like this where there's economic turmoil. So if we see any major moves on any of the things that I've just talked about, then we should see Luna Classic follow suit as well. So of course, that's really what I'm keeping my eye on at the moment. I will update my trading view if I do see anything, so be sure to follow me on there. The link for it is in the description below. But otherwise, that's all I have to say really on Luna Classic. Not too much in terms of price movement is happening. It's very, very choppy at the moment, but seems to be keeping up this bullish trend, this slow bullish trend that we have, represented by the orange trend line that we have here. Of course, we had a pump just the other day that took us up 16%, and I don't doubt we could see more like that in the future as well. But generally speaking, I do think what Luna Classic will do in the next few days will be determined by what the market does. And at the moment, it looks like we're at a turning point in the markets, with Bitcoin starting to fall down from the 20,000s regions. It could start entering 19,000 once again, and the same with the stock market. It looks like things are looking red on there, but of course, it's still early days. The market's only been open for 30 minutes today so far as of making this video. So we could end up seeing it a green day, but I'm keeping my eye on it nonetheless, because that's really going to affect what happens to Luna Classic. So that's pretty much all I have to say in this video. Let me know in the comments if you are holding any Luna Classic, but otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on my next.